Welcome to the HU Move Makers podcast, where we highlight folks that are blazing the trail and making moves in Howard culture. Welcome to the HU Move Maker podcast, where we highlight influential people in Howard culture that are making moves. Today, got a special guest, private wealth advisor at Goldman Sachs, Howard alum, University of Chicago School of Business. This man went to Howard on a full scholarship with track and field. He's a beast. He can hoop too. He used to give what's old boy name on Toronto? Used to give him buckets, man, back in the day,
Kyle
right?
Lowry.
Used to give Kyle Lowry buckets back in the day. Man, this dude gives back. Gives back to the Boys and Girls Club. Gives back to Made in Brownsville. Gives back to the Pride in Education and shoot basketballs, not people. Man, this guy helps entrepreneurs and their companies, corporate leaders, family-owned and operated businesses, athletes manage their wealth. Basically, he helps ultra-wealthy families and select institutional clients manage their bread. Not me, and probably not anybody watching this show. But, I want to welcome Kharay Kenyatta, man. Kharay, welcome to the show all the way from Philly to DC to New York. Now you on Wall Street doing your thing. Now you in Miami doing your thing. What's up, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. I know we talked a little bit before the show, but this is a big deal that you're putting, bringing all these, prominent alumni. I guess I'm a prominent alumni that you're bringing back on and, exposing the 30,000 followers that you have to some of the things that we're doing. But I think it's great. I'm a big believer of bringing people together. So, what you're doing here is exceptional. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yo, man, thanks for coming. So I want to ask, man, ultra wealthy, that's like a super niche because you got rich, you got wealthy, then you took it a step further to ultra wealthy. What do you define as an ultra wealthy family?
Yeah, so the way we define it at Goldman Sachs is it's $10 million in cash and up.
Oh.
So our minimum client has $10 million of investable assets, we call it. So that's from cash all the way down to private equity. So if you have cash, bonds, stocks, real estate, all that good stuff combined, if we could a minimum of $10 million, that's where we start within my group. So
what's considered cash though? Cash is that real estate? So if I'm liquid, if I own property that's worth $10 million, but I don't necessarily have $10 million in stocks and cash in the bank, can I come to you?
Well, it would have to be cash. No, if you own your own personal real estate, that wouldn't be a part of the 10 million. But sometimes, like if you brought us $10 million in cash, we would put some of that into our real estate products. So, it only counts when we invest the cash for you. So if you had $5 million in cash, but $5 million in real estate, then that wouldn't work. We need that to be liquid, liquid $10 million, which is, when you think about it, look, I laugh and I'm smiling saying it right now because I'm from the inner city of Philly and my parents made, $50,000 combined every year with 4 boys. So, when I turn down somebody and I say, oh, well, we only do, 10 million and up, I laugh when I say it to myself. So it's a big number. It's a big number, but I've been in the business for 4 years, but there's people out there with it. And I think, that's what keeps me going. I want to be, a client of myself one day, so, but it's good to get exposure.
So you turn the cash away. You like, you make 9, bro. I'm sorry. Only 9.
Yeah.
If
it's 8 or 9.
I want to. Let me talk to the boss.
Yeah. If it's 8 or 9, I'll bring it in. If it's 8 or 9, I'll bring it in. But if it's 5, we have like other groups at Goldman that can do, kind of that 5 to 6, 7. But if it's 8 or 9, I'll still bring it into my group.
So that's below your pay grade. Wow, man. So I come to you, man. I got 20 mil or whatever. What can I expect? What type of services can I expect to receive from Kharay Kenyatta? First of all, your name is Kharay Kenyatta, so I'm looking at that name. Do I want Kharay Kenyatta managing my money, first of all? So it's got to be some hurdles to that. But the first question is, what can I expect? Like, what level of service and acumen can I expect from an individual like yourself? You know, if I'm bringing
Yeah, no. Yeah. So first of all, you just got to like and before I talk about Goldman and all the things that we offer, we just got to like and trust the person that you're working with as a wealthy individual. Liking and trusting the person that you're working with before they make you money. So like, trust, then make money. So I mean, my job in the beginning is to get people to like me, to understand, what their issues are, get them to trust me, and then ultimately deliver the services of Goldman. So Goldman, it's asset management. So it's, taking that $10 million and investing in it in a way where we're protecting the downside, because these people are already hit their home run, right? They've already hit it out the park, whether it's a professional athlete or a business owner or a tech entrepreneur who sold a business. They've already hit their home run, and they're coming to us and saying, "Hey, Kharay, I got $50 million and I don't know what to do. How can you help me preserve this capital and help it grow over time, and then pass it on to my kids in a tax efficient manner?" So I would say I'm a risk manager. My job is to take the risk out of your life and help your assets grow over time. So that's, but on top of that, we also do other things. So we got trust and estate matters. Now, you have to pass on money to your kids. You have to protect your money from creditors. So that's a trust and estate piece. Now you want to give away money. So philanthropy. How do you structure your foundation in a way where it's tax efficient and it's reaching, the goals that you want to reach? So we help with that. We help with borrowing money. Oh, I need to borrow money for a house or artwork or whatever. So it's a full service thing. And we like to say, our average advisor only has 20 to 25 clients. So we like to say we're pretty white glove in what we do. So I know Josh and Kenya, and I know, his kids like intently. I know them very well so that we can deliver, better services if we know the family well. So versus like a Merrill Lynch or JP Morgan, sometimes they can have 100 clients. We tend to have 20 to 25.
No
That's what
shade.
allows you to.
No
Yeah,
shade.
no shade. No shade.
So let
No
me
shade
ask you
to that.
this, man. So when you are, are you like, if I'm giving you money, you say wealth management is basically saying like, don't fuck up my money. I don't need you to necessarily get me a 10% plus return. Like, give me something, but don't lose my principal. Is that kind of like?
Exactly. So our first thing is risk management. So on average, our portfolios have returned about 6.5% over the last 19 years. So you know
Damn.
what I
So
mean?
if I'm
So
giving you 10 mil and you giving me 600 grand a year, I can
right.
effectively
So
live
that's
off of that.
right, and that's how our clients think. I'm already wealthy. Just make sure that your risk management, you're making sure I'm not losing principal, it's growing, and then you're giving me access to the firm. So access to the best investment, access to the best thought leadership, access to philanthropy, access to all these things. So, and all that stuff comes free by you paying for the assets under management. So that fee that you pay Kharay and Goldman covers all these things that we do for you. So, but yeah, if you think about it, client has $10 million, we're making them $650,000 a year, and they're paying us, $100,000 a year to do that, and they're like, this is great, I have someone that I like and I trust that's helping preserve capital, helping pass on money, helping me give away money, so it's a full service, financial services firm.
Welcome to the Go Fish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Go Fish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate. How do you get folks to buy into you? You know what I'm saying? I would imagine that most people that you probably deal with aren't people of color, but maybe they are. I don't know. How do you get folks to buy into you? Because even though you selling Goldman, they, at the end of the day, they got to buy into you, because Merrill Lynch can sell the same products that you can sell, and JP, like, it's all, the same thing, but how do they buy into Kharay?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm in Miami, and I was down with a professional basketball player who plays for the Heat, and we were at dinner last Wednesday, and he just stopped dinner after 2 hours, and he was like, Kharay, what, like, all right, I'm content where I am, but why should I come to Goldman? And that was just, most people ask that question. And before I talk about Goldman, again, I talk about, some of the things that I bring to the table, whether it's, my ability to grind and continue to grind. I mean, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't grinding on, grinding all my life, So grinding, having integrity, having authenticity. But I think one of the major things that I bring to the table, which is why clients like me as an advisor, is I'm not just talking about, the products at Goldman. I'm talking about how to connect them to other things in my network. So whether it's, an attorney that they need, whether it's an accountant that they need, whether it's an investment that's not on the platform at Goldman, whether it's, anything, a girlfriend, a wife, I'm always the one kind of in the middle, being the center of influence, I call it. And that's how I've grown the business. I have counterparts who do all cold stuff. They don't do any networking. They don't bring people together. They don't want to do that. They don't want to go to black tie events. They don't want to go to dinner. They would rather have a database of 200 people that they have and just email the time and bother them. They don't even know these people, but they're just reaching out to them. I chose not to do that, one, because that's just not my personality. But two, like you said, my name's Kharay Kenyatta. Like, a white person sees much, I'm not supposed to, if they see sometimes, I mean, it's known that, just with resumes, if you send a black person and a white person, if you send in the same resume, the exact same resume, if it's a black sounding name versus a white sounding name, that white person gets a call back 50% greater time. We know that, right? And that's just a resume for working for somebody. So can you imagine when you're managing someone's wealth that they've created over the last 50 years, So I know that, and because of that, I tend to do things a lot more personable. So I throw a once-a-month networking series that Josh has come to, and we actually supported his organization, Switch Dreams, back in February for All-Star Weekend. But that's my way of bringing
dope. I
people.
seen some athletes there, man. What was dude's name? The tight end? Forgot his name.
Vernon Davis.
Yeah, Vernon Davis was in the building. I mean, and I not only I seen it wasn't just black people, man. It was all it was a lot of diversity that was in the room, man.
Yeah, and that's so to your point of how I bring in business, that's the way I do it. I want people to see me for me, not, I mean, look, I love my name, Kharay Kenyatta, but I know it can be a detriment sometimes because, people are used to seeing Joe Stein or, Joe Blow or whatever, a founding name, and a white person in this seat. But if I can take that out of it and make it more personable, so now they see me in person, they see me connecting the jobs, they see me raising money, they see big sponsors behind me, they see these things. I'm connecting them to things all the time. Come have a drink, come have then they see me as a person, that they want to do business with, a person that's connecting them to positive things.
So your role in this, man, if a customer wants to say, man, I need a target return of, let's say, 5 to 8%.
Yeah.
You won't manage that yourself. You say, okay, let me connect you with my counterpart. Is that how that works? And we'll come up with a plan, or will you do it yourself?
Yeah. So I am your advisor too. So I'm not just sales. I'm not just getting people to come in. I'm constructing the portfolio as well. But we have a team of 70 PhDs, economists, and former money managers. We call it the investment strategy group. So they're the brains behind what we do. So when I'm putting the portfolio together, I have a strategist from that team kind of helping me construct the portfolio. But I'm talking about, I'm talking about cash, and, I'm talking about, asset allocations. I'm talking about bonds. I'm talking about how they work, how private equity work, how hedge funds work. So I know how all that stuff, how all the different asset classes fit together. But we do have a group called the Investment Strategy Group, who's more like, not the nerds, but they're the PhDs and the economists and all that stuff.
Man said not the nerds, but they're the nerds.
Yeah.
So
but they're good. They're good.
They're not the guys just coming on client lunches and going golfing and going to the game.
I do sometimes. Like if it's I bring the investment strategy group often, because they're cool too. They're not just like book smart nerds. They're cool people. So they can come in and kind of, while we're talking about the game and whatever and blah blah blah, they can talk about the macro environment and what's going on with the China and American trade wars, and what's going on with oil with Saudi Arabia and Russia, and so they dig a little deeper than I can on certain issues that would affect that client's portfolio.
So I know you got your MBA from Booth, University of Chicago. I mean, did you have to get any certifications or licenses to do what you do?
Yeah, so an MBA is not required, but Goldman only hires MBAs. So at Goldman, an MBA is kind of a prerequisite to get the job. But then there's regulatory exams. So, the Series 7, the Series 63. in the series 3, there's 3 licensing exams that you have to get to take to talk about securities and sell securities. But there's no, like, some people get their CFA, some people get their CFP, but it's not required. So that's what I had to get. Yeah.
Damn, that's fun, man. I had to get my 6 and 63, man. I was like, yo, this shit sucks. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. March comes, you got the, you know, we're talking about March 2020, man. You got the COVID announcements, you got coronavirus, all this shit. If I got 10 million with you and I look up and it's 7 million, I don't give a fuck what virus is out there. You know what I'm saying? You know, what was that experience like? Because I know that you couldn't possibly have had gains during that time because everybody's portfolio was taking a hit. And it's, you know, money is money, but I mean, I'm sure, you know, when you have access to those resources, PhDs, economists, and people that have lived through recessions and, you know, have you know, this is what they do. Is there a expectation from your clients that, you know, 10 million, yo, like, I don't care what's going on, you guys need to figure out a way to give me a return? Or is it, are people understanding, like, yo, it's cool, man, you know, it went down 30%, you know, like, what's the vibe like?
We have to set expectations in the beginning that this portfolio has the ability to go down. This is not a portfolio that stops at 0 and everything just goes up. In order for us to get your return, there's going to have to be volatility in the portfolio if you're going to be taking risks to get that 6.5% that we talk about. But even when you have those conversations, when people see the average portfolio was down, you know, call it 18%, 19% during March 19th, at March 23rd at the lows of the stock market. So you had a $10 million client down $2 million, you know, and I think that's where, you know, I was a psychology major at first at Howard before I switched to finance, and I think that's where psychology comes into it, and it's, you know, having those conversations with clients, letting them know that, you know, if you sell right now, then this is a permanent loss. But if you continue to invest, we know it's going to come back. You know, this virus will go away. Markets will recover. They always do. So, you know, while it's a paper loss and it doesn't feel good to be down to 20%, you know, it's our jobs to kind of give them the historical data. Things like this has happened before. Here's what's happened during 2008, 2009. Here's what's happened during the .com bubble. Here's what happened during 9/11. And we show them the charts of how it always comes back. So not pleasant conversations, you know, because a lot of them want to sell, but we have to tell them the reasons why selling is not the right time right now. We don't sell when the market's down. We sell when the market's up, when you're making money. So all that to say, you know, markets went down 35%, the S&P 500, and so portfolios were down, but they recovered 30% since then. So if Josh Mercer was a client of mine and you sold March 23rd, you're down $2 million. Now, if you listen to me, the psychologist, your financial advisor, and you held through all this, now you're only down, you know, about 3% on the year. So you're like, hey, Kharay, thanks for guiding me through that. But it's tough. I had 3 new clients that I was putting money to work. It's like putting money to work in a tornado. Like, what do you do? Like, things are going crazy. Clients are, hey, Kharay, I don't know if we should put the money to work right now. I'm like, this is a good time to put money to work. We want to put money to work when things aren't going well. When the markets are down, you're getting in that better price point. So the conversations were from, you know, existing clients who were down $2 million to clients who were just giving me money and we were putting money to work to, you know, smaller clients who didn't like the volatility.
I mean, was there any clients that was like mad at you or pissed at you, or are these folks understanding to, like, okay, we understand? You know,
for the most part, they were understanding. We had a lot of conversations just telling people not to sell, though. Everybody just was like, I want to get out the market, get me out of here. And we have to say, well, do you want to pay taxes right now? Do you want to pay 20% capital gains tax? Because, you know, or do you need the liquidity? Do you need to take losses to offset against other parts of your life? So if those 3 things aren't apparent in your life, then you should just be holding. You know, the stock market is going to grow at almost 10% per year. So, you know, we know there's going to be some volatility, not like COVID volatility, but, We just got to hold and keep going. So yeah, we were having some tough conversations. No clients left or anything, but these situations do create opportunity on the end of this. When this is all over, clients from other firms and maybe even from Goldman, if their advisor didn't manage through this storm well, they didn't make them feel comfortable, there will be opportunities for other advisors to step in, because maybe that person doesn't want to go through a situation like that with their current advisor again. I don't like the way Kharay, handled the storm of COVID. I'm switching to Morgan Stanley, So there will be some opportunities coming out of this, whether it's for Goldman or Morgan Stanley. I mean, people will be switching advisors, based on how their advisor, dealt with the COVID storm. So.
Damn. So how much cash and assets, like how much are you managing right now or advising on total?
Yeah, it's a little under 100 million, it sounds like a lot, but I mean, it's not. Like, there's some guys at Goldman who have, $10 billion under management. They're making $20 million a year, like
Damn.
Literally guys like me, making that kind of money. They've been around for 30 years. So I'm still growing.
Shit.
I have I know, a bunch of prospects, and it's a good business because once you have it, like, it's just there. And Josh Mercer is paying his fees every single year.
So is that how you get? I mean, I know you get a salary, but in terms of like do you get a fee? Do you get a commission? How does that work?
So we take a third of all the revenue that comes into Goldman. So whatever I bring in, I can bring in as much as I want. Whatever I bring in.
Wait, so if somebody bring in 10 million, they giving you a third. You get a third of that?
Not of the 10 million, of the fee that we're paying to that client is paying.
Oh.
So let's say. Yeah. So it's on average, they're paying like 1% or something like that, right? So the goal is to get,
okay. So if it's $10 million, they're paying 1%. That's about $100,000 to Goldman.
Right.
Your commission will be about a third of that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, let's just say like that. Yeah. So the goal is to get a bunch of, get a 50, 100 million, 150, a person that just sold a business. Yeah.
And
so
these
the goal
are all things that you have to openly share this with the customer in terms of like what the fee is and what you're making. That's like a.
They don't. It's funny. They don't ever really ask how much I'm making, but they do ask what their fee would be, and we tell them their all-in fee. I don't say from that all-in fee I take a third of it. That really comes up. It's just more, what is my.
Now that's good to know because, like I said, I had my Series 6 and 63, and a few years ago it was like this thing where you had to be transparent with like commissions and all of that stuff. But like you said, nobody really asked, and I don't even manage money.
Yeah.
I just had to get it for like the 1 or 2 cases that somebody does want like an IRA or a retirement plan from me.
Yeah.
But damn, that's good, man. I mean, shit, like, so effectively, man, if you do this thing right, let's say if you can get like 2-3 new people a year, and then you get and your retention is good.
Yeah.
I mean, all you got to do is just manage those relationships.
Exactly.
That's pretty
and that's why I think it's a good business for me. Running track at Howard, I've always thought very long-term in nature. Like right now, I could be making way more money doing something else, but I want to build this business because I see it as an annuity stream. So if I can keep building, all my friends are making more money than me right now. But they know in the long run, once I build this thing and I got to
But you're not on commission only, are you?
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah,
you want commission only.
But it's not commission because like it's very formulaic. If the clients are there and they're paying you the fee, like it's like almost like a formula. So it's not like, the goal is to just keep building on top of you're at 100 million now, you keep getting 100, then I close this client next week for 50. Now I'm at 150 million. Then, you close it, the athlete that I was telling you guys about, that's another 50. So now I'm at 200 million, so the goal is just keep growing this thing.
But you're not getting a salary, right, from Goldman? Or you are?
Well, until I get to the way it works is I didn't want to explain it fully, but the way it works, when I first get out of business school, they have to pay you a salary and bonus because you got to survive. You don't have any clients yet, right? But the goal is to get to 100 million. And once I get to that 100 million, which I'm close to, then I'm on full commission. So I take so I don't even have a salary anymore. I literally take a third of all the revenue that comes into Goldman.
Minorities, and when I'm saying minorities, I mean basically black people.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of black folks doing what you do, right?
Not a lot. I mean, at Goldman, there's 500 advisors worldwide, which sounds like a lot, but that's a small amount. Like JP Morgan has 10,000, Bank of America has 15,000. There's only 500 of us worldwide.
Really?
Yeah, 500 of us worldwide. But there's about 18 Black people. So it's I mean, what is that? 3-4%, something like that. So 4% of the advisor base is Black. So not a lot of Black people doing what I do at this level, at the $10 million level. But I think that's that's the reason why. I mean, I've had some Black professional athlete clients view me. You would think they would be like, Kharay's the man. He looks like me. Let's do it. And no, it's the exact opposite. They're used to seeing. If you grew up where I grew up, what you saw was the white Jewish guy as the advisor. The white doctor, the white dentist, the white accountant. So even though I look like them and I'm from where they're from and I have all these degrees, it's still, in our minds, we're not used to seeing Black people in this position. So they kind of want a senior white guy to be in the room, which sounds crazy, but that's just how we're conditioned to think about wealth.
And so, I mean, with Goldman, they don't want to hear any of that shit. They like, hey,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Go out there, you know what I'm saying? Go hunt and kill, bring something back. They not really looking,
Yeah, they don't get it. I mean, they're starting to get it now with the conversations that we're having. Like, they're like, damn, you had to go through that before you get to work, Kharay. Sometimes, like, people think that you're like the Grubhub man. Sometimes people cross the street. When you're in your suit, people cross the street when you're walking to the train in your neighborhood. I'm like, yeah. Like, people clutch their purse on the elevator with your suit on, and they still clutch their purse on your elevator. Yeah. And they're like, wow, this is great. So imagine, if these are the simple things that happen to me every day, how am I supposed to bring in a $10 million client? You know what I mean? Like, these are
Yeah.
So imagine how hard it is, if we have those underlying, biases and issues. I think, imagine now I got to go out and find a $50 million client, a white man with $50 million. Not easy, but that goes back to the reason why I do the events. I mean, I spent 10 years in Chicago, as you know, but I was always doing something in Chicago. Nothing formal, but like the steak dinner that you came to a couple times, or the Eagles Super Bowl party, or like whatever. I just like bringing good people together. I think more than most people, I have a background that goes from the hood in Philly to the highest of finance at Goldman Sachs and everything in between. So I enjoy bringing my friend from the hood in Philly, meet my boss who's a managing director at Goldman, and them talking and going to coffee the next day and working on something, like, without me in between that and bringing those people together, it doesn't happen. So all that to say, I do the events to make myself seem, or not seem, but I'm a person. Like, it's not Goldman Sachs, it's me. I'm connecting people. Yeah, Kharay's Cocktails and Connections. So, I mean, this event started in my apartment when I moved from Chicago. I moved from Chicago after 10 years. I knew like 50 people in New York. And I said, if I'm going to grow this business at Goldman, I need to recreate my Chicago network as quickly as I can in New York City. So, I invited the 50 people that I knew. So whether it was from Howard or University of Chicago or Goldman, I said, hey, I'm having an event at my house. I'm going to do this the first Friday of every month going forward forever. And they were like, all right. So 10 people showed up. And then the next month, 12 people showed up. Then the next month, 20 people showed up. And then 6 months in, I had 50 people in my little apartment. Literally, it was shoulder to shoulder, little West Village apartment, but it was good. So then about 2.5 years ago, I had to move it out of my apartment and start renting places around New York. And then eventually, big brands started saying, hey, well, why don't you do it at our headquarters? Airbnb was the first major sponsor. And now there's big brands who are, I'm coming into their headquarters with my 225 people.
Wow.
And it's clients, it's prospects, it's referral sources. We're raising money for a nonprofit where, you're wearing a name tag, you're meeting good people. I always say 2, 2, 2, and 2 is my mantra. You come, you have 2 drinks, you meet 2 good people for personal, you meet 2 good people for business, and you get $20 of charity. So you're leaving feeling, holistic. It's a free event, and it's a $5 suggested donation. Some people don't give any money. Some people give $100, but on average, we're raising close to $2,000 every month for a nonprofit. So it's like a lot of good things coming out of it. People see me as a good person, a trusted person, and ultimately that helps bring in business. Yeah. So I mean, the event has actually, you asked if the event brought in business. There was a guy who friend of mine. Well, I had met him at a networking function. He started coming to my event over and over and over again. We built up a nice relationship through this event. One time he said, "Hey, Kharay, man, I'm interviewing to be, this firm, this nonprofit wants me to interview to be their chief investment officer." I was like, "Oh, what's the nonprofit?" So he told me, and it happened to be a nonprofit that I was trying to get to move money to Goldman. So as he's interviewing, I'm putting in a good word for him on the other side, saying, "Look, I know this guy." And then on his side, I'm prepping him on how he should, talk about how he would manage assets if he was at this foundation. So fast forward a month later, he gets the job. Boom, he gets the job, and then a month after that, the money comes back to Goldman because I had connected.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
oh, that's dope.
So that's one of the big wins, and the story's a little longer than that, but that's one of the ways that the event. I wouldn't even have known he was interviewing for the job if I didn't have the event. And then he told me about it. We were able to prep to help him get the job. On the back end of that, I had already been talking to his employer, the future employer. So once he got the job, it was like, well, Kharay helped me get the job. Let's move this money to Goldman.
Going into an environment like that where you're already like a super minority in terms of, race, you know what I mean? And now Black issues are at the forefront of everybody's mind, but you're working in the industry where I guess emotions aren't really, you can't really be emotional when we're talking about money. You know what I'm saying? Because then that leads to like bad decisions. Like, do you feel the energy like when you walk in there? Like, are your colleagues like looking like, yo, like we don't want to piss him off, or like, are they asking you things about being Black? Like, have conversations shifted? You know what I mean? Like, how has that affected you in the workplace?
Yeah, well, you have to remember we haven't been into the office in a long time, so we haven't been able to necessarily feel how the office environment will be, post the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all that stuff. But what I can tell you is I probably received 15 text messages and phone calls and Instagrams from, people in my, white people in my network just saying, I had no clue. Like, you sit right next to me at work. Like, I come to your parties all the time. You're successful. You still have to go through all that. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They don't see University of Chicago on my chest. They don't see Goldman. They just see Black when I walk out of the building in the morning. So yes, I have to, before I'm walking to my corner store, which is in an all-white neighborhood in New York, I make sure I got on my cool sneakers, not the beat up ones. I make sure I'm not wearing flip flops. Make sure I got on my nice sweatpants. I make sure, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that we have to think about prior to being in the meeting for the $50 million. So we're in the meeting thinking about, 25% of our brains are just thinking about, being Black, so we're not even bringing our full self, our full brain power to work. You can only imagine if all the Black people are only using 75% of their brains, because the other 25% is thinking about how to be better perceived, in the workforce. And I'll tell this one story, and this is before all this. This is in November of last year. There was a guy, and it relates to Howard too. A friend of mine sits right next to me at work, white gentleman. He went to UVA undergrad. He had a partner, his pledge father, or whatever you call it. You pledge something. What is it called? The guy who was the main pledge person. His pledge. Yeah, or whatever. I don't know. It was his pledge brother or something like that. Was going to Howard for law school, and he was like, "Kharay, my buddy's about to start at Howard for law school." I'm like, "Is he white?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What percentage of Howard is Black?" And I was like, "Probably like 99% in undergrad." I was like, "In professional services, probably like, I don't know, maybe 95." So we look it up, and it was like 96% or something. So 4% white. And he was like, under his breath, he was like, "God, that must be hard for him." That's what he said under his breath. And I'm like, yo. Yeah. I'm like, yo. I was like, "Andrew, do you know that I'm in the minority every day I walk into this fucking place, walk into Goldman Sachs? I am in the minority." So you're talking about your friend going to one of the top law schools in the world for 3 years and being the minority. Every day I step foot into this world, I'm looked at a little different. He's like, "No, I didn't mean it like that, but wow, that's the first time I really thought about it. We went to the same business schools. We worked at the same firm. I didn't know you had to, deal with that, like you being in the minority all the time. I never thought about it." But yeah, so I would say, we are having a lot of conversations around it. There's a bunch of town halls there. We just gave $10 million to, a bunch of charities that support, economic development in the communities that we're from and that are being affected. So I don't know. We'll see when we go back to work if it's still a hot topic. Hopefully it is, and we continue to protest. So by the time I walk back into the office, we're still having those conversations. But so far, everything's been remote, so you can't really feel the physical, physical presence of it at work yet. So, but it's been a lot of phone calls and a lot of conversations. Like, how can I help? What can I do? I had no idea. Because we don't bring, like, when I get to work and it happens, like, let's say I'm getting on a train and somebody clutched their purse and then I can't get a cab. And the white guy gets the cab. When I get to the office, I'm not explaining that to them. I'm just going about my work. So they don't even know that it happens. They just Kharay's just at work today. Like, no, but two things happened before I got to work today, that pissed me off, but I just have to kind of keep it inside and not be the black man that's like, fuck this shit. That's not going that's not going to work.
No, that's real. You definitely can't be angry.
I'm always right down the middle. I'm always even keel. Like, I can, even at my events, you'll see, like, yeah, it's about bringing black people together, but it's 20% white. So, like, I just always try to, not be right down the middle, but, maybe like a politician or something, I gotta be kosher all the time.
Are you active from a personal standpoint? Are you highly active in the stock market?
Yeah. So I invest, in the S&P 500, like I said, but I also buy like stocks that I think, have a lot of growth. So I invested in like Uber, I have Netflix, I have Apple, I have, a lot of the technology stocks, but I also have some, oil stocks were hit pretty bad. So I have Exxon, I have Chevron, so L Brands, which owns like Victoria's Secret and Bed Bath & Beyond, so I have a portfolio probably of about 15 stocks, that I just, I buy them for the long term. I only buy companies that I think have a long-term, chance to grow. So I just buy them and hold them. But when I went to business school, I literally had like 50 G's. I had to sell all of it to pay for business school. So, I had to restart post-business school 4 years ago. So, so I'm building it back up, hopefully bigger and better. So
what are your thoughts on reparations? I mean, that's a topic. You had Bob Johnson on the Breakfast Club not too long ago saying that like black people owe like $10 trillion and, every black person should receive $300,000 over like a 30-year period and something like that.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on reparations?
I think it would be great. I don't know if it'll ever pass Congress where every individual black person is getting 300,000. I think I did the math on it. It was like 10 trillion. I did the math myself one day. Like, if all, 45 million black people in the United States got $300,000, like, how much money would that be? And I forgot. I think it wasn't the trillions, obviously. I think it was around 10. But shit, we just spent 2.4 trillion on COVID real quick, And that's just on the stimulus package. There's other things that, they were buying corporate bonds. They're creating liquidity facilities, PPP loan. I mean, all this stuff added up to over probably 4 or 5 trillion. So we can do it if we want to. But I do think, like, I always use this as an example. Like, the reason, to be successful, you have to take risk. And we can't take as many risks as our white counterparts because we don't have the financial resources to take that risk. I think if each person had $300,000, I mean, look, of course, people are going to be buying Bentleys and blowing it and all that stuff. That's going to happen. But I think what it's going to do is allow a business entrepreneur like Josh Mercer to take more risks, to open up another, state, Allstate. It's going to allow Kharay to open up his own LLC to put more money into Cocktails and Connection. So that the risk that we wouldn't have been able to take if we didn't have that $300,000 backdrop, which most white families do have that backstop. So they're able to take more risk, which means they're going to ultimately win, more and get more return. So I think, having a cash pile like that will be beneficial because people will be, have the ability to take more risk. The only reason I was able to quit my job making 100 to go down to 25 is because I had 50 in the bank. Like, if I didn't have 50 in the bank, I'm going to be sitting at that job for the next 40 years. You know what I mean? And that's what most people do because they can't afford to take the risk. But because I had, the education, the exposure, and the opportunity that created, that cash pile that I had, then I was like, I could take a risk right now. And now that risk has paid off with the job that I have. I'm still building right now, still in growth mode. But yeah, so I do think reparations would allow us to take the risk that we historically haven't been able to take because we didn't have the resources to take the risk.
Coming from Philly, man, you go to Howard, man. You had a full ride track and field scholarship. Was there any other schools that you considered that you had full rides to?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, like so I was recruited by Howard, but I wasn't on full ride. So so this is what happened. So in high school, I would run cross country, right? Then I would take off of running to play basketball because I just wanted to ball, and I knew we could win the Philadelphia Public League. And it's, obviously you're in the stands and it's girls, and it's much more fun than just running, So I would run cross country, then I would take off to play basketball for 4 months. Still running track. I would do both. I would just go to track meets and run without practicing. But then after basketball, I would go back to running track. And the Philadelphia Public League, where most people get recruited, is that period where I was not running, I was playing basketball. That's where most people get recruited because you're traveling to Penn State, you're traveling to all these big events. I wasn't doing that. I was just in the Philadelphia Public League. So I was recruited by Howard, but he was like, Kharay, you're fast, and you're going to be really fast if you come down to Howard, but we can't give you money right now because we need you to run like 3 or 4 seconds faster. We know you can do it. It's just that you're playing basketball. If you didn't take these 4 months off, like, you would be the man. You can go to any school you want to in the country. So I was like, so what? I want to play basketball. Like, we had a chance to win the Philadelphia Public League. Like, I was like, nah, we're balling. And I was like not our top scorer. I was our third best scorer, but I was like our top defender. So everybody from Kyle Lowry to Marty Collins to all these guys that you see in the NBA, like Kharay Kenyatta was stopping those guys.
Locking them down, stop them.
Yeah. I mean, I almost got killed one time, a couple of times. Like, literally, people like, I'm at Strawberry Mansion in Philly, Gratz. They're like, yo, if you touch my cousin again, I'm going to fucking kill you after the game. I'm like, yo, man, I'm just trying to, like, just play, guard my man. Like, but they, like, in the stand, I'm taking the ball out, and they are in my ear, like, touch my cousin again. And I'm like, dang, like, all right, triangle, running the play, like, So I didn't. So yeah. So I was recruited, but I didn't. So I went down to Howard. I told my parents, look, take out a $20,000 loan. I'm gonna go down here. I visited one time, and when I visited Howard, I was like, this is like beautiful. It was people from LA, people from South Africa, like all these black people. In my neighborhood, I had 3 friends who were, kind of on our same level. Parents. We know we're going to school. It wasn't like I ran into people at Howard every single day. That's not how I grew up. So when I went there on a visit, I was like, this is it. Like, I got like this. I have to. So I went home, like, I got to go to Howard. So all that to say, so they put up the $20,000 in the loan for me to go down freshman year. So freshman year, I didn't do anything. I didn't party. I didn't, I was just running every single day. And after freshman year, I ended up being team MVP freshman year. And that's when I was on full ride after that. So again, I had to take a risk to go down to Howard, not on scholarship, not party, not drink, no smoking, just running every single day. And I ended up being team MVP. And over the course of the 4 years I ran there, I was MVP 3 times. Even over your boy David Oliver, who was an Olympian, I used to win MVP over him, even though he was that good, but he was good at that one thing. And I was good at, like, the 800, the mile, the 4x4. I was like all over the track all the time. So
damn. So were you to be MVP? Was that mean like you were the best on the team, or is that like an award they give to somebody that exudes like leadership and?
It was the best on the team. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like, for me, because I contributed to so many things, whether it's my event where I would come in, first or second, win points there. So David Oliver would do the thing. He would win points in his. He would come in first in his. I'll come in first in mine. So we both got 10 points. But then he was done. And then I was still running. Like, I was running on the 4x4, so I was contributing points there. And then I would run in the mile, and I'm contributing points there. So I was contributing the most points to the team in various, different events. So that's how I got MVP, just by being like a top contributor with the most points to the team. So
What was it like being in a sport where you essentially you got to kind of, it's just like a job. You know what I'm saying? Even in the off season, you still got to keep your body right, watch what you eat, watch what you put in your body. And then you're at Howard where, we right in the middle of DC. It's parties. It's
I know.
the ratio, 7-to-1 ratio is crazy.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
what is it like being a student athlete particularly in track, where, you know, you bust your ass, come in, because basically, essentially, when you run track, depending on your sport, a lot of times your it's not like football where you go, you practice, and then it's like a 2-3 hour game. You know,
Yeah.
you run track, you might be doing all this preparation for a 12-second.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Again, I'm always thinking. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I'm always thinking long term, and I think that's what helps me stay focused in the job that I have, because I know that every day you're building, every day every late weight you push, every extra lap you run, every extra mile, So for me, it's funny. Freshman year, I'm trying to get a scholarship. My parents put up all this money. I'm like, I gotta get a scholarship. I can't afford this school if I don't get a scholarship. So I gotta run. So I remember we were walking to a party. This is like the first week of school, and I had practice the next day at 6 a.m. And in the middle of we're walking from like from Drew to like, I don't know where we're going. We're walking across the yard, and I'm just like, I gotta turn around. They're like, what do you mean you gotta turn around? I was like, I got practice tomorrow at 6 a.m. I gotta get this scholarship. So we were all walking towards the party. It was 10 of us, and I turned around and went back and went to sleep. I was just, I can't do it. So there was a lot of sacrificing, and especially for track athletes, distance runners, the season starts like in September. So you're training all through the summer, July, August, September, meets start, then indoor track, then outdoor track. So literally all year long, I have a job of running 50 miles a week for the whole year. That's what I did. So call it 7 miles a day. I was running every single day. I was running 7 miles. So, it was a different college experience. I mean, towards the end, I would party a little bit, like on Saturdays, one day of partying. After the meet, that's it. Saturday, that's it. We're partying, we're done, back to running. Sunday morning, we're running again. So, but it was a different college experience. But I look at it like, look, maybe I didn't party as much in college. I party now because of, my event, and I'm always out doing something. So I'm in Miami right now, so I feel like I sacrificed those 4 years of having a real, and look, I had a social environment. It was my track teammates were kind of like the fraternity, my brothers. But it wasn't as, partying at, what's the joint called? I don't even know the name. What's the Love or Dream, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember all that? I wasn't there a whole lot. We were running, but I look back on it, and I wouldn't change it to have a better college experience, a more socially fun college experience. I paid for school, I got out debt free. I paid off the loan after that my mom took out, my mom and dad. After 1 year working in Chicago, I just paid it off, so I was pretty debt free. Now I got $150,000 in loans from business school, but at least I don't have business school and undergrad. But yeah, it was tough being a college athlete. It's a full-time job, especially as a distance runner.
So
especially as a distance runner.
Be involved in like any other like activities or organizations that?
No, not really. That was it. People are like, what else did you do? Did you have a job? No, I was running track every single day. I wasn't really involved in a whole lot more.
Was it ever a point where did you ever want to quit track?
So not my freshman year, when I was like, because it was different. I mean, cross country in high school is 3 miles, and in college is 5 miles. So your event just went up 60%. Like, we running 60% longer. This is crazy. So I, there was 2 times where like I started crying. We had to wake up at 6 a.m. and run, and I was just, I don't know if I can do this. Like, my mom put up $20,000. I'm supposed to be getting on scholarship. It was like, I just cried and like walked. I was like 5 miles out on the run. I just walked back to Howard crying. Like, I don't know if I can do this. It's a lot of pressure, man, on an 18-year-old to come. I was 17 at the time. To come in, your mom and dad put up all this money because you told them that you were going to come and get a scholarship, and you putting all that pressure on yourself to come down and run this certain time. So yeah, I cried that time. And then one time during the same season, freshman year, it was like 85 degrees. We were running at James Madison, whatever, in Virginia, and it was just hot. And we had to run 5 miles. I quit. I never quit anything, but I quit at mile 2. I took off my jersey, my Howard jersey. I gave it to my coach, like, man, I don't know if I could do this. So there were 2 points where I was just like,
damn, how did your coach respond to you quitting? You quit during an actual meet?
Yeah, it was during a meet. I was just like,
damn, man, how did your teammates and your coaches respond? That had to be.
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, we probably had to talk about it or something. I think he laughed. He knew how much I hated cross country. I was more of a track person, but we had a conversation about it. But I just kept pushing through, man. Then by the end of the season, I was team MVP. But it was hard. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to, and it's not like football or basketball where you have like, somebody else can look. Track is all about you. I think that's one thing that keeps me, on the straight and narrow and continue to build, because like you can't blame anybody else. Like either you can't say, oh, they didn't pass me the ball, the shot clock ran out, the conditions were wet, the ball was slippery. It's like, yeah, you train, you get on the track. It's me versus you. It ain't nothing else. It's all on you. It ain't no excuses. That's one reason why I tell my nephews and nieces, like, run track. You can play basketball, you can play football, but run track too, just to get so you can get a better understanding of yourself. And so it was.
Yeah, I couldn't do track, man. I did a triathlon in high school. My mom made me do it. I trained. I was like, man, fuck this. That shit sucks.
No, think about it. It's everybody else's punishment. Like running is everybody else's punishment. And for me, it was that was our sport. So yeah, it was crazy times.
Man, so okay, so you graduate, you know what I'm saying? So I guess you weren't that so limited social life as a track athlete. But you're in the School of Business. Grades were good. You graduated with honors, right?
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah, graduated was that magna? Yeah, magna cum laude. Yeah.
That's dope, man. So how do you, given where you came from, man, how do you parents feel now in your family about the success that you've had?
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2011, but he saw some of the success, so 5 years into me working and all that. So he was pretty excited for me. He saw the move downtown to Chicago downtown, overlooking the Sears Tower and in River North. So he saw it growing. But my mom, even more now, she's so supportive. Like she's retired and she comes up from Philly every month. And she's my chief operating officer of Kharay's Cocktails and Connections. So she's running around. She's making people drinks. She's collecting money for Josh's fundraiser. She's, making sure the food is spread out. She's, talking to clients. She's, and I think can you imagine if you're a $50 million client, you come to my event, my mom's there serving you things. It's like, well, damn, this is like, Kharay's a real fucking person, like this is not, he's just building something good. He's just doing something positive. So my mom always just says, keep making as much. Like I have enough nieces and nephews, I have enough grandchildren. You should just keep going because you're doing something right. Just keep trying to make as much money as possible. She didn't used to be like that, but now I think she sees that I'm on the cusp of like, something good. So she's like, just keep doing what you're doing. When I first started throwing a party, she's like, I don't understand why you're pumping $1,000 into this thing every month. That's a lot of money. And she's like, I just don't get it. I'm gonna keep coming up to support you, but I still don't get it. And then, as she started to say, I say, Mom, you see that person over there? His family sold the first chip to Apple. And she's like, what? Like the chip inside the phone? I'm like, yeah, the chip inside the phone. His family's worth $2 billion. And she'd be like, I'm gonna go get him a drink, So she's starting to realize, why. And so when I say like 10 million, she'd be like, wait, so that's 100,000 times 10 is a million, and 1,000,000 times 10 is 10 million. Damn, that's a lot of money. So she's starting to just realize, yeah. So she's proud of me, and she doesn't fully get everything, but I think she's starting to realize the circles that I'm in and the chances that I tell her all the time, without her, I wouldn't be able to grow, Cocktails and Connections from 10 people to 225 like that. Like she literally, like I don't have to work the front desk anymore. I don't have to, collect money anymore. I get just focused on, talking to people and connecting people and, shaking hands and giving hugs and getting updates from people. Inevitably at every event after I give my speech, somebody comes up to me like, hey, my uncle's selling a business for $20 million. I think you can be helpful. So the event is doing what it's, it's doing what it's supposed to do. But yeah, definitely the parents and brothers are, they're very happy at where I've got. But like I said, Josh, like everybody I hang out with has more money than me, like literally every person. So sometimes, I do have to take a step back and say, look, you're pretty successful. Even if you don't bring in another client right now, like you've done great things. But I think because I surround myself with so many successful people all the time, it like forces me to always, want more and see that this person who's making $5 million a year isn't as smart, isn't as connected, isn't as like, I can do all these things. So I think by being exposed to so much, it does keep me, kind of striving for more.
Welcome to the Go Fish Village podcast. As a Chinese proverb says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. At Go Fish, our goal is to teach individuals just like you how to build wealth through real estate. So being it, your business model is based off relationships. How are you pivoting with with COVID going on when everything is, kind of virtual right now?
Yeah, it was tough in the beginning because for a month I was just like sleeping. I wasn't doing anything. I was just like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be having coffee and dinner and drinks, and my event got canceled. Like, my event was about to be serious. It was Lyft. It was going to be at Lyft headquarters. They were bringing, it was going to be diversity recruiting. It was a recruiting session too. As you're leaving the event, you get a Lyft code to wherever you live. You could catch a Lyft wherever you're going.
Wow.
Like, it was like nice. We had it all set up. But I bring that up because once that was canceled, I was like devastated. Like, man, that was my biggest event. It was going to be my biggest sponsor. Diageo was on the liquor. It was going to be like a whole thing. Had some big time people from Goldman coming, big time clients and prospects. So I had to pivot to and I've done 3 of these already, but I took Kharay's Cocktails and Connection virtually. So I couldn't do it with the 225 people. I did it more with, I broke down my network by industry and sector. So I said, all right, here's healthcare. Here is real estate. Here is mergers and acquisitions. And I started doing like these Zoom series, these Zoom calls with my network, but in a smaller fashion, not the 220 people, but 8 to 10 people. And that was pretty beneficial because everybody's sitting in their house. You have COVID impacting their industries, and they're not sure, how it's going to be post-COVID. So to have a doctor on the call, along with a pharmacist, along with a dentist, along with somebody who works executive at Boston Scientific who's selling medical devices, along with, all these people kind of talking to each other. Oh, what are you seeing at the pharmacy level? What are you seeing at, at Boston Scientific? So that was my way of kind of bringing my network together to solve a problem of COVID. And it was pretty beneficial. I did 4 of them. I haven't done one since, but I was thinking about doing another one for like entrepreneurs. So maybe you would be on that one. I have 8 to 10 entrepreneurs come on from, insurance guys to, private equity to, all different people, just trying to bring people together. So I've only done 4 of them. So it's been pretty tough bringing, staying. I've also been trying to send more literature out. Like, it's been a lot of volatility in the market and things are crazy. So if I could, send thought leadership from Goldman out to people that they can read and kind of, get an understanding of what's going on in the market and how we're thinking about it. That's been helpful with staying engaged with people. But I know you're right. It's tough. Not doing my, bi-monthly event. It's definitely impacted me a little bit, but hopefully once we get a vaccine, I can do it again. Lyft and Diageo are still down to do it. So it's just a matter of, New York opening up and people feel comfortable bringing 300 people together again. So.
Yeah, I'm sure things will work out, man. People just got to get, used to it. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, man, people are not going to stay in, man, and people, people are social. People want to get out here, network and make money, so, I guess the crowd just probably be a little bit more niche, and I guess the people that come out are going to be a little bit more serious. What advice do you have for, a cat like yourself, man, that come from nothing, 6 foot nothing, 100 nothing, come to Howard, man, with a wish and a dream, want to get the best out of Howard and want to really excel afterwards. What advice do you give to that 18-year-old cat from Philly?
Yeah. It's hard, man. I mean, because it's not easy. Look, I was talking to Kim Frazier. He's the CEO of Merck, and we were talking about, exactly what I was saying, the EEO, the education, exposure to opportunity. I was lucky enough to have a 2-parent household, so that by itself was a big deal. My mom with 4 boys making 25 grand just wouldn't have been feasible. Not just the money part, but to have a person on the other side, another voice, and just creating balance. If you just got mom, you go out into the world, you only know the mom's perspective. When you got dad, from a financial perspective, yes, now we're on a different level. And then from a social and just a learning perspective, you have two different perspectives now. It creates a balanced person as you're going out into the world. So I would say it started with my parents. And my dad, although he didn't go to school, he didn't graduate from school, he read every book in the world, like literally. So we were getting knowledge that, college professors, were given at Howard. We were getting it at, 2-3 years old from my dad. So, I did have a little cheat code because we had, basically a college professor who didn't go to school, who read every book in the world. And we had my mom on the other side who was like the loving, caring person. So it was a nice balance. But I say, education is always important. Your GPA at Howard goes a long way. It really does. Like, when you're trying to apply for jobs, minimum sometimes is 3.0. You're applying to grad school. They're like, oh, top MBA schools. Oh, what did you get in undergrad 10 years ago? And you're like, luckily I had a 3.5, so it made it easier. So I would say, yes, it's going to be fun. Yes, it's going to be social, but you gotta make sure that the education and part of the EEL that I talk about, that education piece is that's going to be your foundation as you apply to things, and as that's going to be your launch pad to the next thing. You don't want to look back at the 4 years at Howard and be like, damn, I partied a lot. I had a lot of chicks, all this stuff. But then, you had a 2.2 and you can't even get the job that you really wanted because you wish you had the 3.0. So I think, focusing at Howard is a hard thing to do, but you do have to do that. And then, I would I tell this and it sounds simple, but like, be inviting to your white counterparts. It's hard to grow when you're just always, and not saying it like this, but most of the wealth in America, 99% of it is with white people. Most of the opportunities, most of the, it's sad to say, but they do hold it now. And we got to be able to tap that. We have to be able to get into that somehow. And oftentimes you won't be invited into that. But what I've learned to do is invite them into your world. Be inviting. Like, Susie, if you and Susie are cool, don't just be cool at work. Invite her out to dinner with the girls. Like, invite John out to the game, to the Eagles game. Like, it's cool. While, it's not always comfortable in the beginning, I think it's important for us to like invite people into our world, to let them know that we are on the same level. We think about the same things. We have the same family dynamics. And I think that helps create opportunities for you, because they, I always tell people, like, my party is 80% Black. But I'm like, I want it to be like 60% Black, because I want 40% to be, those families that had, I know this sounds crazy, but they had generations and generations and generations and generations of executives in their families, So the opportunities that they can present, they sometimes have more relationships than we do as we're trying to build it as a first or second generation person. So have those relationships in the Black community, but also know that a lot of the wealth and power is sitting over there, and a lot of the resources. So we got to be able to kind of navigate both worlds and be successful. I was reading Andre Iguodala's book, and he said the most dangerous Black man is a Black man who can play both sides of the world. Who can understand what's happening in Philly, but also understand what's happening in the boardroom at Goldman. So I think it's important for us to kind of have the ability to play both sides of the world. So step out of the south side of Chicago for a little bit, and or invite them down to the south side. So just
but what are you, when you're inviting them in and you're kicking it, do you find yourself acting different, or do you feel comfortable just being yourself?
Yeah, I feel comfortable being myself. I'm pretty much myself all the time. Am I saying the N word? Like, I probably will say sometimes no, but but no, I am myself, and I think that's a part of why people like me, because I'm pretty authentic all the time. So whether it's white people around, whether it's Black people around, I'm pretty much who I am all the time, and I think that's a big part of being successful in business, is being an authentic person with high integrity, as you probably know in your business. I think I try to be the same person. Try to be the same person all the time.
So if somebody has $10 million cash, man, how do they get in touch with you, man?
Oh yeah, well, first name dot last name at gs.com. If you got that kind of dough, Kharay Kenyatta, Kharay.Kenyatta at gs.com. Shoot me an email or something. but I'm always, through this pandemic, I've been helping a lot of friends who just wanted to start investing. Like, Kharay, I see the market's down. I'm supposed to start investing, right? Like the markets are down. I want to get in. There's probably been 15 people who reached out and said that, and I've been able to kind of help them, open up a Fidelity account and start investing in things like that. I can't do that for everybody, but I would encourage people to, Warren Buffett always says, the easiest way to invest is just investing in the S&P 500. The thing that I keep talking about is basically just investing in the heart, the economy of America. These are the top 500 companies in America. You buy shares in all of them. It's called the S&P 500. And over time, these companies grow at about 10% per year. So if you put, as you get money, you just keep putting it in the S&P 500, keep putting it in at highs, at lows. You just keep putting it in, and you're getting 10% per year on average. And then, you'll look up, your $100,000 would be 6.4 million. So I would encourage people to open up Fidelity accounts, and start investing. It doesn't have to be in individual stocks. It can be in the S&P 500, which is cheap and passive and just represents, the globe, the heartbeat of the American economy. So that would be my advice, if people wanted to start investing on their own and they didn't have $10 million,
What about your legacy, man? When you think about what you want your legacy to be 100 years from now, I mean, what are people saying about Kharay Kenyatta?
I think, hold on, I think, for me, I want it to be a person that, was always authentic, was always, had high integrity. But I think the connecting piece is really important for me. I just really enjoy connecting people together, people who are doing positive things in real estate. Oh, do you know this other person in real estate who's doing good things? You have a mergers and acquisitions attorney over here. You have a private equity exec over here. Oh, you two should know each other. I enjoy being that bridge, that person in the middle, that center of influence that, connected, someone to the right thing. I have 3 people who are going to University of Chicago this year who I wrote recommendations for, and they all got in. Stuff like that. They're going to look back and they're going to say, and look, they had the grades, they had the SAT, the GMAT scores, but those things where I can connect the dots to an admission officer, connect the dots to an opportunity, connect the dots to a, to a job opportunity, connect the dots to a significant other. Like I want to be, if I died today, I would hope that a lot of people would say, well, damn, Kharay connected me to this person that ended up making my life better. So I enjoy being that center of influence who has a lot of relationships, but has the ability to understand what all those relationships bring to the table and connect in a thoughtful way. Like I know some people would just be like, oh, this person's in real estate, this person's in real estate, I'm going to connect them. Or Josh is in insurance, I'm going to connect them. But I think I have the ability to understand people's businesses and what they do pretty well, and then try to connect that business to something that could be positive on the other side, another relationship that could help their business grow. So if I died today, I would hope that people thought that I brought good people together and helped them, grow, whether it's personally or professionally, and hopefully economically as well. So.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff, bro. So that concludes the interview, man. But before we completely end, man, we got a little Jeopardy I want to do, man. It's just asking questions, seeing what you know about Howard, and a little rapid fire, man. So hopefully you know a little bit of Howard history.
Let's see. All right.
Let's see what you know. All right. So first question, man. What year was Howard founded?
1865. 67.
Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. I was about to say, damn, it's fucked up, man. What is the Howard motto?
I don't know. What is the Howard?
It's truth and service. It's definitely not. I don't know.
Truth and service. Dang.
Crampton, man. How do you spell Crampton?
Crampton.
No P in Crampton. No P in Crampton. All right. Reared against the eastern sky. Can you finish that sentence?
Oh, no. That's no, man. I don't know. Nope.
Proudly there on Hilltop High.
God dang.
Do you know the Black National Anthem?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
It's fucking. It's fucking. God damn it! I know the Black National Anthem. Just on the spot, man.
Oh man, come on, man. Damn, Goldman done changed you, bruh.
Wait. That's not good, man. I'm trying to think of the. I had the. That's not good.
It's
Lift every voice and
Oh yeah,
sing. Man.
yeah. Lift every voice and sing. There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody must have told you that.
No.
What's the zip code of Howard?
Damn. Yeah, it's 2001 something. What is it?
20059.
59. Yeah.
Who's the president of Howard?
Wayne Frederick.
Good stuff, man. Who was Howard named after?
General this white dude, General Howard.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. All right, so rapid fire, man. You just got to give me a yes or no answer or whatever comes to mind first.
Yeah.
U Street or Adams Morgan?
Adams Morgan. U Street wasn't cracking like that when I was there. I don't think Adams Morgan was the spot. But now U Street is good though. It's good. But I would say Adams Morgan since that's where we were when I was there. Okay,
what comes to mind? Have you seen Ozarks?
Yeah.
Is that like what you do? You like help people launder money?
No. Oh man.
All right, I didn't know if that was because I got a little situation I needed some help with. But, I was gonna send you some customers, but since that's not what you do, man, I won't send them your way.
No, I'll send them my way.
But is homecoming better as an alum or as a student?
Alum for sure.
Howard men don't cheat.
What do I think about that?
Yeah, what's your response?
Some of them probably don't. Most of them probably do. Who knows?
Jordan or LeBron?
I'm going LeBron.
Oh man. Howard China or China Wonder?
Ho Chi. I think I went to Ho Chi. Whenever I went to the Chinese food store, Ho Chi. That was the one on the corner of Cook, right? Of Drew.
Yeah, that was Ho Chi.
Yeah.
You might get your shit took, but that's when you know your wings is good. When you risk your life for some chicken wings.
I know. One of our classmates got shot right outside of there. Like literally, I forgot his name, but it was a big deal. He was alright. He came back in a wheelchair and shit. Came back to school and everything, but.
Damn, for real?
He came back like 50 Cent though. He left like just as a regular Howard dude, but he came back like Me Against the World. Like he was wearing like 50 Cent G-Unit white beaters and stuff all the time, and like he just came back. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Okay. Hey, when did you first realize that you were the shit? That's
a tough question. I have to tell myself that now, though, because I think, again, I'm always, in these positions where, people are wealthier, people are making more money, people are, more successful, because I choose to put myself in those things. So I do have to sit back and kind of tell myself that sometimes, So I don't know, just to survive, So yeah, I do.
Capitalism.
What do I think about capitalism?
The first word that comes to mind.
The first word that comes, greed probably. That's the first word. But I live in a capitalistic world for sure. So, and I want to make a lot of money too. So I can't be. I'm not too mad if I can build this business at Goldman and I start my own thing and then I bring that $1 billion over to Kharay's LLC and I'm making $5 million a year. I like that, So I'm not. I'm way far from that, Josh. I'm just thinking like if I was
you halfway there, man. Damn.
No.
So you making millions already. So what did you do with your first?
No, million? I don't make millions. I don't make millions. No. I don't want the interviewees to do that. Hopefully I'm on my way to doing that, and I think I can. But like I am still, in growth mode, still building. So.
Damn. What's the when you got your first bonus or biggest check? What did you spend it on? Was it some? Did you go ahead and buy like shares of Amazon?
Yeah, no.
Or did
Yeah,
you?
I wasn't that guy. I wasn't that guy. I mean, and when you say big bonus, it was probably like $5,000. It was probably like my first job or something like that. You know what? I did get a watch when I got the internship at Goldman. I did get a watch for like $1,000. Now I got a better watch. It's more expensive, but I did go out and buy a watch for a G.
Damn. What's your favorite Howard moment?
Favorite Howard moment? Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it's one particular thing, but I do miss like the bus rides with the track team. It's one of the rare teams that travel with the men and the women. So to travel, a bus ride from DC to Florida, it doesn't sound fun, but I think the camaraderie that was built within the track team, is nothing like it. So yeah, definitely those moments with the track team traveling across the country to different track meets.
What's the biggest L you ever took?
It was multiple things. I mean, one time I got my motorcycle stolen, so that was that.
Damn, was that in Chicago?
Yeah, I didn't have insurance on it because it was too high. So that was $8,000.
Come on,
yeah,
Kharay.
yeah, I know. I had liability insurance. Just I got stopped by the cops. So $8,000. I think not getting the right score on the GMAT. I remember we talked about that. I had to take the GMAT 3 times to get the right score to get into the University of Chicago. So the first 2, I literally cried after the test.
Damn, that shit was tough, huh?
Yeah, man, it's tough. And then recently at Goldman, I was working with a professional basketball player who, if I mentioned it, everybody would know. But I was working with his parents for 2 years. And I had talked to him 3 or 4 times. He had been in the Goldman. It was good, but at the end of the day, when the money was about to move, he said that he didn't want to work with me. He wanted to work with someone more senior and someone that his parents didn't introduce him to. So he was trying to become his own man. And it ended up being that. So after 2 years of helping this family and making sure they're making the right investments and finding out people were overcharging them, ultimately I don't have the client. The client came in, I still get paid, but I don't have the relationship. So that was a pretty, from a professional standpoint, that one, hurt, and we'll still continue to build the relationship.
It'd be your own people, man. It'd be your own people. Bro.
I know. So now he's with the white man, and paying him instead of paying me. So
damn, so much for Black Lives Matter. But
I know.
Anyway, hey man, you've been a great guest today, bro.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. Like I said, what you're doing, interviewing and kind of, putting these things on a website and archiving these events is amazing, and I'm happy that I was able to be a part of it and share my story a bit. So.
Thank you for joining the HU Movemaker podcast, where we highlight folks that have contributed to the Howard legacy at the highest levels. To hear more interviews or purchase merchandise, please visit www.humovemakers.com.